Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I'm so glad you're here. I love starting my morning, setting an intention, looking for ways that it's going to be a wonderful day. Yesterday, I read about achievement from the ABCs of Success that Bob Proctor wrote. And I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into that because he talks about achievement is whatever you want to achieve. In order to get it starts with living with awareness, acceptance, and alteration. He's calling this straight A's. Like if you were a straight A student in school, you understand what that means. It's the best, the top. And awareness is so important, looking around and deciding, realizing what you've been talking about, thinking about, and doing in your life. And with awareness, when you're aware of something, you can change it. Acceptance is accepting that you are responsible for your results, all the good, all the bad, everything that's coming into your reality is through your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now we can get deep into talking about the laws of the universe, but just know that the laws of the universe are always working, all the time, infinitely, for every person, no matter what age or stage of life. The laws of the universe are precise, and what you put out comes back to you, not always immediately. But how many times have you done something where you've acted rashly or harshly or in anger, and instantly you have a reaction from another person, from the universe? You get into a bad mood, wake up, instead of practicing gratitude and being in a happy, joyful, relaxed, calm state of being, you're the opposite, and you stub your toe and spill your coffee and you don't pay attention, the rest of the day goes downhill. It's the law of attraction at work, the law of transformation of energy, the law of cause and effect. What you put out comes back to you. And alteration, that means choosing, deciding, making a decision that you want to change something in your life. Choose a new reality, choose better results, choose a different outcome. Then when you study and you practice, you rehearse what it is that you desire, you achieve it, you receive it. The universe rewards you. Bob Proctor wrote a chapter in his ABCs of Success called Awareness. And he talks about a room of mirrors. He tells a story. He said, the other day I was speaking with a dear friend who was sharing her situation with me. It wasn't exactly pleasant. Her husband was unhappy, critical of everyone and most everything. He didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. She explained to him, she explained to Bob Proctor, her husband acts as if everyone and everything is against him. The lady's description of her husband reminds me of something that I read years ago about the person whose mind was like a room with mirrored walls. It wouldn't matter which way he looked. All he was ever able to see was himself and his situation. He would not be able to invoke the law of relativity. Not being able to compare his life with most of the world's population, he would never know by comparison that he was living much like Solomon in all his splendor and glory. Actually, this man's down and out attitude was caused by thinking only of himself. Most, if not all, of his problems would be solved if he placed the mirrored walls of his mind, replaced the mirrored walls of his mind with windows. Then he would see what an absolutely fascinating world we live in, full of color, interesting people, and opportunity. There would be so many challenging things to do and places to go that he would forever be scrambling for time. When an individual is super sensitive, jumps at conclusions, and allows themselves to be negative, they are showing their immaturity. By replacing the mirrors with windows, this high level of sensitivity can be converted into awareness, and negative impressions made to serve as a stimulus for creative thought. This in turn will lead to happiness, peace of mind, and a fulfilled life. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop a positive vision. To be conscious means not simply to be, but to be reported, known, to have awareness of one's being added to that being. There's so much aggression going on in the world at this time, and it seems to be ramping up. More local news reports, more global news reports of frustration and anger, and people are not maintaining control of their thinking, their feeling, and their actions. When you get in harmony with that, when you focus so much on what's going wrong, and anger and bitterness and jealousy and the unfairness, you can get into some dark places, some places of not feeling worthy or giving up. One of the most common reactions to frustration is aggression. Bob Proctor says, let someone drive in front of us and block our progress while we're rushing to an appointment, and our thin veneer of civilized behavior peels off with a blast on the horn or an angry shout. While aggression may be a direct and common reaction to frustration, the reaction itself often leads to additional sources of frustration, especially if it's another person who is the target of the aggression. The other person may hit back. Psychologists used to think that frustration automatically leads to aggression, but further research suggested that that was not true in all people or all cultures. If aggression is a learned response, it can be unlearned, and other more adaptive responses can be substituted. Are you becoming aware of how you're living in your daily life? Are you responding? Are you pausing and thinking before you respond? Or are you triggered and automatically reacting? Think about when you toss a pebble into a pond of water and the ripples go out. That's like whatever you say, think, or do sends out ripples into the universe. You may think it's invisible, you may think no one can see your thoughts, but ultimately, it's like a boomerang. What you put out, the universe rewards you with, good or bad. Action, reaction. Sir Alec Guinness, the great actor of stage and screen, suggested an excellent substitute for aggression. Guinness told a story of how his friend and fellow actor Sir Tyrone Guthrie had a phrase for everything that went wrong. Guinness said Guthrie used this phrase for everything from a toothache to a catastrophe, such as the loss of the company's costumes when they were on the road. It was just 3 simple words: rise above it. I'm sure you'll agree, if we faced our troubles in that frame of mind, many of those troubles would vanish, and the frustration that often accompanies our problems would simply disappear. Put it to the test today with the first problem you are faced with. Just saying, rise above it. Repeat it out loud. Rise above it. Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. Viktor Frankl, who is a prisoner of war, had everything stripped from him. He said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Bob Proctor also talks about when people dig in their heels and talk about, I'm right, that means you must be wrong. That's right, it's right, he's right, she's right. Those words are echoed every day by millions of people. Once we decide we're right, an abundance of energy goes into defending our rightness. However, if we look at the situation objectively, we will quickly become aware that we're never right. Our way may be a good way, can be a valid way, it might even be a better way, but it will never be the right way. The minute you believe your way is the right way, all other ways will be wrong. That attitude will quickly paralyze progress and shut down your creative juices. Bob Proctor says, permit me to make a suggestion. The next time you hear yourself saying that's right or I'm right, correct yourself immediately by repeating, this is a good way and I might act on it. However, there is a better way and I will look for it. The first telephones were a good way, a better way, even a great way to communicate. However, history has proven that the first telephones were certainly not the best way to communicate. In my lifetime, there was a rotary dial phone on the wall with a cord attached to it. You couldn't move very far away from the telephone. You'd rip the cord out and you wouldn't be able to have a conversation. And then came cordless phones, and then mobile phones in a big bag that you could carry in your car. And now The phones that we carry around with us can fit in a pocket or a purse. They can take pictures. They have more power in them than computers. They have the ability, you can see a person that you're talking to and send them a picture at the same time and look up any information that you used to spend time going to the library and looking up in a hard copy encyclopedia, which was already old news. It might be a good way, a better way, but it's never right. This basic concept holds true with everything we do, from healthcare to air travel. Notice how the world is changing faster and faster, and what happened before the global pandemic, what happened since then is people's eyes have been open to all the problems in the healthcare system and air travel industry and firefighting systems and the legal system. But as you become aware of a problem, you can change it. Otherwise, you're just bumping along thinking everything is fine when there can always be a better way, a more efficient way. And a different way doesn't mean it's wrong. Always look for a more efficient way to do things. Think of your own business or industry and the role you play in it. You could very easily be caught in the trap of doing your job the same way because you believe it is the right way. It may be effective, but there is always a better way. One small adjustment could improve your productivity 100%. Your way may be effective, it may be valid, but it's never right. Find a better way. Our attitude towards others determines their attitude towards us. There's a quote, "No amount of experimentation can ever prove me right, but a single experiment might prove me wrong." Honest disagreement is often a good sign of progress. Just because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean they're right and you're wrong. Doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong. You just have differing opinions. That's no reason to react. There's no reason to fight or get aggressive. Today, pause before you answer a question. Pause before you jump to conclusions. Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Today, think about those ripples in the pond. Think about the universal energy and the transmutation of energy and your thoughts becoming things. If you're not feeling great, ask yourself what you're thinking about, what you're focused on. Your invisible thought energy is powerful, and it's going out into the invisible universal mind, and it is attracting back to you whatever you're in harmony with. Your body is a mass of energy, and it is vibrating. It might be imperceptible, but you're shedding cells and growing new cells and becoming different all the time. You might be looking at your life saying it's always the same and I'm kind of living a Groundhog Day, the same results day after day after day. Well, that comes from thinking the same thoughts, behaving in the same manner, expecting the same kind of day that you had yesterday and the day before and last week and last month and last year. And rather than playing out the same day from 10 years ago, what if you paused and decided, what could I change today? What could I look at differently? What energy am I sending out into the world? You can tell by the results you're getting. How would I like to feel? If you want to feel happy and free and joyful and prosperous, you have to get into that state of being, feeling well-being, having faith that the thoughts that you think are attracting back to you everything that you're in harmony with. Like attracts like energy. So think about what you would really love to accomplish in your lifetime. Is what you're about to do today in alignment with that outcome, that goal, that target, that way of living? If you want to be calm and relaxed, you have to take some time to sit still. Maybe look at the water flowing along a lake or a stream, or go for a walk in nature, or just sit and stare at the clouds for a couple of minutes like you might have done as a child. Watch the clouds drift by and take a deep breath. And let go of whatever is bothering you. You cannot allow peace and happiness and calmness in your day if you're holding on tight to what you believe is right, to what you believe has to happen. Maybe if you let go of how you think things have to happen, the universe will sweep in and make your life so much easier, allowing what you really want to come into your life, allowing more time and money freedom, letting people have their own opinions, letting people do what they do, and you focus on peace. You focus on calm. You focus on well-being. What does it feel like to be happy and well? What does peace feel like? When we have peace in our hearts and peace in our homes, then we'll have peace in our community. And then that peace can spread globally. Rather than fighting against what you think is wrong, just let people have their opinions. You notice how if you try to defend your position, you dig your heels in and get tighter and angrier and more forceful, and so does the other person. Pause. Is this worth the energy? You are an unlimited spiritual being in a physical body. But you might notice that by the end of the day, you're tired and out of energy. You're holding on tight to how things have to be or should be. Spend more time in the state of well-being. at ease, allowing the beautiful, infinite, loving energy to flow to and through you and creating the kind of day that you want, the state of being that you prefer to be in, that allows you to think more clearly, that allows better circumstances, people, situations, resources to be attracted to you. The laws of the universe work perfectly, just like gravity. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or an evil person, gravity is going to pull you down to the ground if you step off the roof of a building. The laws of the universe are going to reward you with what you've been thinking about, the way you've been feeling, and the actions you're taking. How do you want to be rewarded today? How do you want the universe to respond? How you act, the universe reacts. What you put out returns to you. Put out peace, love, joy, contentment, happiness. Get into that state of being. Allow it to radiate out from you. That allows you to become an electromagnetic field of energy and pulling towards you more good, more love, more peace, more of every good that you desire. You don't have to be right. Just allow. Allow the good to come to you. Expect it. Anticipate today's going to be a wonderful day and look for evidence of it. Your subconscious mind is always looking for evidence to prove to you what you've been thinking and feeling and doing. Take another deep breath in. Allow yourself to be in a state of well-being. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and consider sharing with someone that you love. Thank you.